Why can't I size my poker value bets? Ever wonder why some of your value bets just don't seem to hit the mark? You're not alone. Many players struggle with choosing the right bet size when trying to get paid off. It's a common challenge that can make or break your post-flop play. The truth is, sizing your value bets isn't just about throwing chips into the pot. It's about understanding how your opponents react and what they're willing to call. If you bet too small, you leave money on the table. If you bet too big, you scare away the calls you want. Finding that sweet spot is what separates good players from great ones. One big reason you might be sizing your bets poorly is that you don't have a good read on your opponents. Some players call loose, others only call when they have strong hands. If you don't know how your opponent plays, you can't pick the right size to maximize value. For example, a loose caller might pay off a bigger bet, while a tight player might only call smaller bets or fold to larger ones. Another factor is the texture of the board. If the board is wet, meaning it has many possible straight or flush draws, opponents may be more cautious. In that case, smaller bets might get more calls, but larger bets could scare them away. On dry boards, bigger bets can often be more profitable because opponents are less likely to have strong draws. Your stack size and the size of the pot also play a role. If you bet too large relative to your stack, you risk losing a lot if you get raised or called. If you bet too small, you might not build the pot enough to make your hand profitable. A good rule of thumb is to aim for about half to full pot size for value bets, then adjust based on the situation. Many players are afraid of losing the pot or getting raised when they bet. This fear can lead to smaller bets that don't extract enough chips. But if you're confident in your hand, a well-sized bet balances the risk and reward. Sometimes larger bets can even induce calls if opponents see them as strong or if they're pot committed. Another mistake is thinking that smaller bets always get more calls. That's not true. Very small bets can sometimes reduce your overall profit because they don't get enough value. Larger bets, if timed right, can actually get more calls, especially if opponents think you're bluffing or are pot committed. Without a consistent approach, you might be guessing each time. Many pros use standard sizes like 50 to 75% of the pot for value bets. They then tweak these sizes based on their reads and the board texture. This makes your betting more predictable and profitable over time. To improve, focus on developing reads about your opponent's tendencies. Think about how the board looks and how much money is in the pot. Use those factors to guide your bet size. Start with about half to full pot bets and adjust if needed. Avoid the temptation to always bet small just to get calls. Instead, consider what your bet size says about your hand and what you want your opponent to do. Practice sticking to a plan and adjusting based on the situation. When you have a strong hand and believe your opponent will call, don't be afraid to bet bigger. The key is understanding that sizing your value bets is a mix of reading your opponents, assessing the board, and controlling the pot size. If you're struggling with this, it's often because you're not paying enough attention to these factors or you're guessing too much. Mastering bet sizing takes time and practice, but once you get it right, your post-flop play will become much more profitable.